Somewhere on a mountain pass in the Italian Alps, a rider leans into a corner at an angle that would terrify most people, and the bike underneath him does not flinch, does not complain, it simply grips the tarmac like it was born there. 20 minutes later, that same machine is climbing a gravel trail with total confidence. This is not two different motorcycles, this is one bike wearing two completely different personalities, and today we are going to pull it apart piece by piece to understand how that is even possible. By the time this video ends, you will understand exactly why the Ducati Multistrada V4 has become one of the most talked about adventure bikes on the planet, so do not go anywhere. Before we get into the deep stuff, if bikes like this genuinely excite you, the sound, the engineering, the raw emotion of Italian performance, then you have landed in the right place. This is Bikes Review Lab, and we spend our time breaking down machines exactly like this one, cutting through the marketing noise and giving you the real picture. If that is the kind of content you enjoy, do us a favor right now, tap that like button and subscribe. It genuinely helps us keep this channel alive and growing. Alright, let's get into the heart of this Italian beast, rally and racing heritage. Now here is something that gives this bike serious credibility. Ducati is not a brand that dabbles in racing, it lives and breathes it. With a dominant history in World Superbike and MotoGP that has shaped nearly every engine the company builds today, the Multistrada line itself carries this competition DNA directly into its design philosophy, and Ducati has used long-distance and adventure-style events to prove the platform's durability and performance under extreme conditions, including grueling multi-day endurance rides across punishing terrain organized by the brand and independent adventure riding communities. While the Multistrada V4 is built as a road-legal touring adventure bike rather than a dedicated rally competition machine, its V4 Granturismo engine actually traces its architecture back to Ducati's Desmosedici MotoGP engineering, which tells you everything about the level of performance sitting underneath you. That racing bloodline is not a marketing gimmick, you feel it the second you crack open the throttle, and we are about to explain exactly why. Engine performance and power. Let's start with the number that turns heads. The Multistrada V4 produces around 170 horsepower from its 1158cc V4 engine. That is a genuinely staggering figure for an adventure touring bike, putting it closer to sport bike territory than traditional touring machines. But raw horsepower alone does not tell the story. What makes this engine special is how usable that power feels. It does not overwhelm you. It builds progressively and rewards confident riders with an addictive rush as the revs climb. Torque delivery and torque curve. Torque is where this engine truly separates itself from the competition. The V4 Granturismo produces around 125 Nm, and critically, it delivers a remarkably flat torque curve starting from very low in the rev range. This means you get strong, immediate pulling power whether you are crawling through city traffic or blasting out of a mountain hairpin. There is no dead zone where the engine feels lazy, it simply pulls hard, consistently, everywhere. Cylinder, configuration, and engine design. The V4 layout itself is a genuine engineering triumph. Ducati designed this engine with a 90-degree V angle and counter-rotating crankshaft, which reduces gyroscopic effect and makes the bike feel lighter and more agile when changing direction than its physical weight would suggest. Even more impressive, Ducati eliminated the traditional desmodromic valve system for this touring engine and introduced spring valves with dramatically extended service intervals. A decision that shows Ducati was not just chasing performance, they were thinking about real owners living with this bike daily. Cooling system and heat management. Heat management on a liquid-cooled V4 producing this much power is no small challenge, and Ducati addressed it with a sophisticated cooling system featuring twin radiators positioned to maximize airflow while minimizing heat transfer to the rider's legs. In slow traffic or hot climates, some heat is still noticeable, which is honestly common across most high-performance V4 and V-twin adventure bikes, but Ducati has clearly worked to keep it manageable rather than punishing. Engine smoothness and vibration levels. Despite housing a genuinely powerful engine, the Multistrada V4 feels remarkably smooth at cruising speed. The counter-rotating crankshaft we mentioned earlier does more than help handling, it also cancels out a significant amount of vibration, resulting in a refined highway experience where the engine hums rather than buzzes through your hands and feet during long stretches of riding. Fuel efficiency and real-world mileage. Now, let's talk practicality, because performance always comes with trade-offs. In real-world conditions, owners typically report fuel efficiency somewhere between 16 to 19 kilometers per liter, which is reasonable but noticeably thirstier than some rival adventure bikes, largely due to that high-revving, high-output V4 engine. If you ride it gently on highways, you will see better numbers, but this is not a bike built primarily around sipping fuel. Power-to-weight ratio. With a curb weight of roughly 240 kilograms and that 170 horsepower output, the power-to-weight ratio on this bike is genuinely thrilling. Few adventure tours in this segment can match the sheer acceleration this bike delivers. It pulls with a confidence and urgency that reminds you Ducati's sport bike DNA is never far from the surface. Drivetrain chain versus shaft. Unlike some rivals in this category, the Multistrada V4 uses a traditional chain drive rather than a shaft. This is worth being upfront about, because it does mean more regular maintenance, cleaning, lubrication, and periodic adjustment, especially if you are riding through mud, rain, or dusty trails. The trade-off is that chain drive typically offers slightly better mechanical efficiency and a more direct, connected feeling when the throttle opens, something enthusiast riders genuinely appreciate. Gear shifting and clutch feel. The gearbox on this bike feels precise and satisfying, and with the standard bi-directional quick shifter, you can execute clutchless upshifts and downshifts smoothly, even under hard acceleration or aggressive braking into corners. The clutch pull itself is light and progressive, making stop-and-go city riding far less tiring than you would expect from a performance-focused machine like this. Suspension front and rear. This is genuinely one of the standout features of the entire bike. The Multistrada V4 uses Ducati Skyhook suspension, a fully electronic semi-active system that continuously reads road conditions and adjusts damping in real time, over 1,000 times per second in some configurations. On rough, broken roads, it softens instinctively. On fast sweeping highway curves, it firms up for stability. Riders consistently describe the ride quality as almost magical. The bike seems to anticipate bumps before you even feel them. Braking system deep analysis. Safety on this bike is taken extremely seriously, and it shows. The Multistrada V4 comes equipped with Brembo radial calipers up front, paired with a cornering ABS system that factors in lean angle to prevent front wheel lockup mid-turn, a critical safety feature when you are pushing this bike hard through mountain roads. The braking power is immediate and confidence-inspiring, with excellent feedback through the lever, letting you modulate braking force precisely even during aggressive downhill descents. Body positioning and riding posture. The riding posture is upright but sporty, striking a genuine balance between comfort and control. Your hands fall naturally onto the handlebar, your knees grip comfortably against the tank, and visibility in traffic is excellent thanks to the commanding seating position. This is a bike that lets you ride relaxed on a highway, then instantly shift into an aggressive, engaged posture the moment a twisty road appears. Deep ergonomics. Diving deeper into ergonomics, seat height is adjustable between approximately 840 and 860 millimeters, with lower accessory seats available for shorter riders. The seat-to-peg distance is generous enough to prevent knee cramping on long rides, and the handlebar reach feels natural rather than stretched out, even during hours of continuous riding. Pillion comfort. For two-up riding, the pillion seat is reasonably padded and positioned with solid grab handles, though it does sit slightly firmer than some dedicated touring rivals. It is comfortable for moderate distances, but passengers planning extremely long multi-day trips might notice fatigue setting in faster compared to bikes purpose-built purely for touring comfort. Weight and weight distribution. At around 240 kilograms, this is not a lightweight machine, but Ducati has done an excellent job centralizing mass low and close to the bike's center, which means the weight rarely feels intrusive, even during slow-speed maneuvering or when muscling the bike around in a parking lot. Turning radius and maneuverability. Despite its substantial size, the Multistrada V4 turns and flicks between corners with a nimbleness that genuinely surprises first-time riders. That counter-rotating crankshaft we discussed earlier plays a real role here, reducing the gyroscopic resistance you would normally expect from a bike this size, making direction changes feel lighter and more responsive than the spec sheet suggests. Frame material and chassis behavior. Ducati uses a lightweight aluminum monocoque frame, with the engine again acting as a stress structural member, reducing overall weight while maximizing rigidity. The result is a chassis that communicates clearly with the rider, giving confident, predictable feedback whether you are leaning deep into a canyon corner or navigating a loose gravel switchback. Ground clearance. Ground clearance is solid for genuine light off-road use, allowing the bike to handle uneven trails, ruts, and moderate rocky sections without excessive concern, though it is worth noting this bike leans more toward road-focused adventure riding than hardcore off-road exploration. Tire compound and grip. The stock tires are road-biased, prioritizing grip and stability on tarmac and light gravel, which makes sense given this bike's on-road performance focus. Riders wanting more serious off-road capability often switch to more aggressive knobby tires, and the bike responds well to that change, though its heavier weight and sportier chassis mean it will never feel quite as natural in deep mud or sand as dedicated off-road adventure bikes. Off-road performance. Speaking honestly about off-road capability, on gravel roads this bike feels composed and stable at moderate speeds. On mud, the electronic traction control and torque management help maintain grip, though the bike's weight and sport-oriented character become more noticeable in genuinely slippery conditions. On sand, the dedicated enduro riding mode helps manage wheel spin and power delivery. But this is not a bike built primarily for desert crossings. It is far more at home carving through mountain roads than plowing through dunes, and that honesty matters when deciding if this bike fits your riding style. Highway performance and touring comfort. This is where the Multistrada V4 truly comes alive. On the highway, the bike settles into a smooth, composed cruise. The adjustable windscreen cuts wind effectively. The seat remains comfortable for hours, and that powerful V4 engine makes overtaking effortless at any speed. This is genuinely one of the most satisfying highway touring experiences in the adventure bike category. Aerodynamics and wind protection. The fairing design channels air smoothly around the rider, and the electronically adjustable windscreen, available on higher trims, lets you fine-tune protection on the fly without stopping. A small, but genuinely appreciated convenience during long touring days with changing weather conditions. Fuel tank capacity and range. With a 22-liter fuel tank and that fuel efficiency we mentioned earlier, Riders can realistically expect a range of around 350 to 400 kilometers per tank under mixed riding conditions, giving reasonable flexibility for long-distance touring between fuel stops. Features and electronics. The electronics package on this bike is genuinely impressive. Bordering on futuristic, it includes radar-based adaptive cruise control and blind spot detection on higher trims, a first for the adventure touring segment when it launched, along with cornering traction control, wheelie control, and hill hold assist, all working together seamlessly to enhance both safety and confidence. Riding modes and technology systems. Multiple riding modes are available, including sport, touring, urban, and enduro, each adjusting throttle response, suspension behavior, and traction control sensitivity. This versatility genuinely transforms the bike's character depending on what your day demands. Aggressive canyon carving in sport mode, relaxed effortless cruising in touring mode, all from the same machine. Dashboard and meter quality. The instrument cluster features a large, vibrant TFT display with excellent clarity and intuitive menu navigation, integrating seamlessly with turn-by-turn navigation and smartphone connectivity, making it genuinely easy to access information at a glance without becoming a distraction while riding. Headlight performance and visibility. The full LED headlight setup provides strong, wide illumination for night riding, and on higher trims, adaptive cornering lights tilt the beam as you lean into turns, significantly improving visibility and safety during nighttime canyon or mountain riding. Battery type and charging system. The bike runs on a robust lithium-ion battery paired with an efficient charging system capable of supporting the extensive electronics suite, including heated grips, heated seats, and the radar systems, without excessive drain during shorter city rides. Build quality and durability. Fit and finish on this bike feels genuinely premium and distinctly Italian, with attention to detail visible in the switchgear, paint quality, and component finishing. Everything about this bike communicates that Ducati wanted it to feel special, not just capable. Reliability and long-term ownership. Historically, Ducati faced criticism for reliability concerns, but the brand has made genuine strides in recent years, and the Multistrada V4 simplified valve system with extended service intervals reflects a real commitment to improving long-term ownership experience. Early owner reports have been largely positive, though it is worth acknowledging Ducati still does not carry the same bulletproof reputation as certain Japanese or German rivals. Maintenance cost and parts availability. Here comes an honest negative point. Ducati maintenance and parts costs remain on the higher end of the spectrum, and while the extended valve service intervals help reduce long-term costs somewhat, routine servicing and genuine parts pricing are still noticeably more expensive compared to mainstream competitors. After-sales service. Ducati's global dealership network has expanded significantly over recent years, and most major cities now offer access to trained technicians, though in smaller or more remote regions, finding specialized Ducati service can still present a genuine challenge worth considering before purchase. Pricing for the Multistrada 4 typically starts around $20,000 for the base configuration, with fully loaded versions featuring radar systems, electronic suspension, and full touring packages pushing closer to $28,000 depending on your region, positioning it firmly against rivals like the BMW R1300 GS and KTM 1290 Super Adventure. Modifications and luggage systems. Ducati offers a genuinely strong factory accessory lineup, including aluminum panniers, top boxes, engine protection, and touring windscreens, all designed to integrate cleanly with the bike's electronics and styling, making it straightforward to transform this sporty adventure bike into a fully equipped long-distance tourer. Brand reputation and rider community. The Ducati badge carries an emotional weight that few brands can match, rooted in decades of racing passion and Italian design excellence. Owning a Multistrada connects you to a passionate global community of riders who value performance and character just as much as outright practicality, and that emotional connection genuinely matters to a lot of riders choosing this bike. Environmental factors, emissions, and sound. On the environmental side, the Multistrada V4 meets strict Euro 5 emission standards while still delivering a genuinely satisfying, distinctly Italian exhaust note, striking a thoughtful balance between regulatory compliance and the emotional theater riders expect from a Ducati. Emotional conclusion. So here we are, at the end of this journey, and if there is one thing I want you to carry with you, it is this. The Ducati Multistrada V4 is not just a motorcycle, it is a statement, proof that adventure touring does not have to mean sacrificing passion and performance for practicality. It carries genuine racing heritage, breathtaking engineering, and a character that makes every single ride feel like an occasion. But no bike is perfect, and every rider values something different: comfort, cost, capability, emotion. So tell me honestly in the comments below, would you choose the Ducati Multistrada V4, or does another adventure bike hold your heart? And tell me why. Your answer might help someone else make their decision. If this video gave you real value, hit that like button, subscribe to Bikes Review Lab for more honest, deep dive bike breakdowns, and I will see you in the next one.